My name is Brian Haltiwanger. This is Module 3 for Fort Hays State University, Understanding My Community, Orangeburg-Wilkinson High School. Orangeburg was founded in 1704 by an Indian trader named George Sterling. The town was named in honor of William IV. He was the Prince of Orange. This year will mark the 43rd annual Festival of Roses. It is always held the first weekend in May. Uh, One of the few things that the town does every year. In Orangeburg, there are 8 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school. They keep feeding into each other. Um, there's a state-supported 2-year college, a state-supported 4-year college, 1 private college. 19% of residents did not complete high school, 26% completed high school, 19% have a bachelor's degree, and 17% completed a graduate degree. Average age is 28.2 years old, and it's almost split 50-50 males and females. Occupations are mostly small businesses and plants. In town, out of town is agriculture. The median income is just over $31,000. The population is 75% black, 21% white, 4% other. 98% of the population is American. Um, there's 1 college radio station from South Carolina State University. The rest are from Columbia, which is about 40 miles away. There's 1 daily newspaper called the Times and Democrat. There are no local TV stations, but cable and satellite is available. And they can get the major television stations from Columbia, which is about 40 miles away. Mostly English is spoken. Most of the local news comes from the Times and Democrat. State and national news comes from TV. The state provides textbooks for all schools in South Carolina, whether that be a hardback, softback, or an e-book. Currently, we are following Common Core, but this is expected to change with the next school year. NAACP is by far the largest group. There's also the Lions Club, Kiwanis Club. There's 1 private country club, which is all white, and there's very little activity in the PTSA. Um, the school board and superintendent are normally battling for control of the district. Uh, right now, the superintendent has a little bit of an upper hand. The mayor is Michael C. Butler, his picture's down in the right-hand corner. The sheriff is Leroy Ravenel, and the district superintendent is Cynthia Wilson. Uh, Between these 3 people, they will influence close to 100% of the people in Orangeburg. Uh, Teachers are getting a little bit more of a say by attending board meetings and speaking up. The mayor and the sheriff are easily accessible. The superintendent has a deputy superintendent that you must go through first. I've never spoken 1 word to the superintendent, and I've been there 15 years. Um, the superintendent has a network of friends, mostly from Houston. She is from Texas herself. That's where she came from. She has been able to sway some board member votes. Uh, One member that ran on the platform that he was going to have her removed has actually just voted to extend her contract. For the county, the main economic impact is agriculture. There's also plant work. The wages are low and the work can be seasonal. Property taxes are low compared to the rest of the state due to the fact that Orangeburg is property values is well below the state average. Average house in Orangeburg is right around $81,000. For the state is a little bit over $130,000. Um, I guess this goes with everywhere. Politics and education go hand in hand. Um, no one in the district has received raises for the last 3 years except district office employees. Some of them also receive bonuses. This past year, bus drivers and cafeteria workers were given raises, but custodians and teachers were not. Um, some people call this the district's way to divide and conquer. In my school, interracial confrontation is small. There are very few white students, um, so it is not normally something that's a problem. Gangs, however, are a problem. We do have a major gang problem and a major drug problem. We're only about 50 miles from I-95, and that's a main corridor for drugs going up and down the East Coast. Females belong to cliques. Um, Hard for a student that moves into the district to actually be fully accepted. Uh, Discrimination can be noticed against the white teachers in certain circumstances. It does seem that if a white teacher writes a black student up, the penalties are not as harsh as if a black teacher writes a black student up. Cursing is an everyday thing, which white teachers seem to have a problem with. The black teachers do not have as much of a problem, I think, as a cultural difference. Extra sources of income. School records are kept confidential. We do not give out questionnaires that I know of that go home to students. Um, Census Bureau says the city of Orangeburg is growing, but our student population has dropped from 1,900 students to 1,300 students in the last 15 years. Minutes of the school board meeting are made public, but most of the decisions are made in executive session, which is not open to the public, and those minutes are kept confidential. Um, there are some power structures. One of them is the superintendent versus the board. 3 years ago, the superintendent bought a software system named Voyager that was supposed to increase reading scores. It was right around $3 million. The board had voted against it, and teachers were not in favor of this software program. The thing that really aggravates the students, the teachers, are it was sold to the district by the superintendent's husband. And as far as the software goes, it's not being utilized. South Carolina is the buckle of the Bible Belt. It's mostly AME and Southern Baptist. Prayers allowed in school on certain occasions. I have heard superintendents pray. Prayers said at graduation every year. Some religious songs are sung at graduation. So prayer is in the schools. I keep waiting for the lawsuit, but not yet. All holidays are observed except Memorial Day, and while I did not put it on the slideshow, Confederate Memorial Day is also not observed. The dress code at OW, pants be worn at the waist. Boys, some of them do not follow it, but there are no consequences. Dresses no higher than 2 inches above the knee. Females will get sent home for that. No jeggings, no low-cut tops, and no headgear. IDs do not need to be worn at Orangeburg-Wilkinson High School. In Orangeburg County, the Democratic Party is the ruling party. However, the state of South Carolina is known as a Republican state. Schools that perform well are given more money, and schools that underachieve are penalized financially. This has led to some unethical issues with test scores. At OW, we actually moved about 150 students last year from classes where they were going to take a state test so they would not have to take the state test. Our report card went from an F to a C. However, it did cost an assistant principal a job. People support the school system when open, but there's very little done to increase scores. I've always said if we could get more books in the homes, very few of our homes have books that the students can just read for pleasure. Most of Orangeburg feels, including the people that get the welfare checks, that until the government quits giving out welfare, things will never change. People seem to be happy to get the free government check. We don't do surveys because we don't get them back. We do talk to parents, and they do give us some information. However, this information is not organized or used. It is just information we get as we speak to them as individuals. That is my presentation in a nutshell. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know it's probably a little bit boring, but thank you for taking the time to listen.